Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's me to go first, and I have the Z. So I'm looking to score well with it. And I'm looking to see if I have a 5-letter word in which would enable me to put the Z on a double letter square. But I can't see such a word. So I've got Zag. Now that leaves 2 high-scoring tiles in the M and the P, which isn't ideal, but they do have a degree of synergy. And I think I do need to play the Z on this move. The alternative would be something like Dogma, keeping PZ, but I think my current leave is more bingo-y. Just hesitating, I'm wondering about playing Zap instead of Zag, but I'm not going to, because the M and the P had synergy, and the D and the G lacked synergy. Now I still haven't got a great rack. I don't think I have a 7-letter bingo or an 8-letter bingo, but I have a nice balance of vowels and consonants, so I should be able to score well and sort this rack out. I do have the O for going underneath Z to make ZO. I have got yumped as a 6-letter word, but it may be better to play a shorter word. That's quite a blocky move by my opponent in that he hasn't really opened anything up for me. There's nothing through the C with the rack that I have. I can't play underneath the Z because my opponent's taken that spot. And there's nowhere to play yumped. So my scoring opportunities appear to be limited. I have got the M which goes next to the Y of Cozy. So I could play something like Moy coming down. Or I've got Myope. That places the Y on the triple letter square. And that's 27 points. The leave of DU is quite poor. But what are my options? This is 27 points. But I am opening the board up a lot. What I could do as an alternative is play down here something like Yord, and the leave is not too bad. It's only 18 points, but it really tightens the board up. It doesn't give an easy scoring opportunity for my opponent. I'm thinking about Yorp, Y-A-U-P. I know it can be spelt Y-O-R-P and Y-A-W-P. Not sure about Y-A-U-P. So I think I'll stick with Yord. And I think Hemiope is good. There's nowhere to play it on this blocked board. I think Hemiope is good. Gosh, Hemiopia is good. Hemiope may not be good. Hermione is good. Well, let's see if my opponent provides an opportunity to play it. The board is very tight at the moment. YU takes an A in front of it, but nothing else. And the C takes nothing in front of it. Zag takes an S, but if you haven't got an S, your options are going to be limited. Nothing goes in front of Cozy. I think Yord takes an S on the end, but I'm not sure. I've got a narrow lead at this point by 21 points, which is nothing really since it's my opponent who is on turn. Well, there is nowhere to play Hemiope. F takes an E after it. And O, I don't have any letters which go after Oi. So I could play Homie down here. I don't have too many options to consider. That's 27 points and the leave is okay. And that's pretty horrible. It's not disastrous, but it is a long way from being a bingo. I've got, there are words there. I've got verb, and there are places to play on the board now with the floaters in homie. But I'm expecting my opponent to use some of those, so I'm going to have to see how the board looks after he's played. Looking away from the homie spot, there's really nothing for me to consider. I don't have anything apart from the S, which goes after the I of homie, so I can't play down from the double word square at E11, which is probably the highest scoring opportunity on the board. The other scoring opportunity would be to put a tile on the double letter square at C9 and play across to the double word square. And I've probably got something which goes there, but it would be nice to play off the V, because the V is probably the draggiest tile on my rack in terms of bingo opportunities. Well, I can't see any 5 or 6 letter plays which use the V in that spot. The fact that I've got only one vowel inhibits my ability to use the M and the H of homie as floaters. Well, Twinkie. Think it's good. I will just check it. Yep, that's fine. So, good play by my opponent. What opportunities has he provided? Well, really, it's just the I of Twinkie. So I could play something like Viper, but then the rack leave would be GBS, which isn't good. Let's see what Berg looks like. This isn't great, but I don't think I'm going to find a great play with this rack. So Berg is 25, leaves PSV. Even if I played verb, I would leave myself with GPS. And G and P are not particularly synergetic. I could play Perv in this spot. I think that's a little better. Does take an E after it, but I'm behind, so an open board is good. And that's pretty yucky. Well, I will be able to play my way through this. Gobos is good, so I could play that at 8-12, at A12 down for 23 points. Still retains the V, unfortunately. And as it stands, a Cozy is really blocking the top left and the middle left of the board, which is a problem if you're behind. I would like to have a wide open board. Well, that's good. My opponent has slowed down with his scoring. So, is there anywhere I can play? Well, I could play govs. I'm looking for places I can play off my V. Let's see what govs looks like. POS is not a bad leave. 19 points, which isn't great, as opposed to 23 for gobos. But I think it's worth sacrificing those 4 points to get rid of the V. And I draw the Q, but I do have the I to go with it. So I may be able to play Chi somewhere. As it stands, I could play Chi at A13, but not for many points. Apart from the Q, my rack is actually not bad at all. So if I can get rid of the Q, hopefully I'll be close to a bingo next go. I can't see anywhere else to play Chi. If there was a floating N, I would have Chin. But I don't think there are any other short Q words, which I'm close to. Ah, my opponent has had 3 U's. But none of them are available for my Q. Well, having said Chi doesn't score much up here, I can of course stick my S on the end, so that's 14. This is 31. That's 17 more points. And I can't see anywhere else for the Q, and I certainly can't play it in or around Owry to good effect. Great, maybe my luck is turning. I've drawn a blank, and although I have 4 vowels, this feels like it's close to a bingo. I'm just going to mentally run through the alphabet and see if anything jumps into my mind. Through an E I would have, or an S I would have boiserie. Well, I have run through the alphabet and nothing has come to mind. I must be fairly close, so I hope I haven't missed anything. There is the R of perv available as a floater, and I've got I and E. So it's possible that there's an IER ending word, something like broilia, broidia. That's still open. My opponent scores 48, which is a good score. I've got the bio prefix. So am I missing a bingo? Well, I can't see it. Nope. Nothing is jumping out of me, so I'm going to have to play a non-bingo somewhere. I've got the I to go after the Q, and I've got the B to go next to GI, but I Haven't got any words beginning IB. OS does take an E after it. But if I played a word beginning BE, I can't see how I can split up my duplicate I. I don't particularly want to play off my E because that's a good tile to have. I don't think Niobe is good. I'm looking at H11. The B is my scoring tile. And with the blank, I certainly want to resolve this rack quickly. I'm also mindful of the time. I'm coming down to the 10-minute mark, which is halfway. This is just 14, which is terrible. But is there something better that I'm missing? See, this provides an easy opportunity for my opponent just to play down at A8 and just block the board up even more. So I've got the floaters in homie of H, O and M. I could play onto the OW at the bottom of the screen, but then that would be obstructing the R ending. Gosh, this is a really tough rack to resolve. This is the sort of rack where where the difference between making the best move and a suboptimal move could be very big in terms of winning prospects. Boy, it's just such a terrible move. Oribai is a nice word, but there's just nowhere to play it. I wonder if I can play down from the U of Ulu. Well, a move like rib is really low scoring and leaves a vowel. Heavy leave. Well, it is going to be interesting seeing what the best move or what candidate moves are available here. Because I'm pretty sure boy isn't the best. I'm really reluctant to play this because it's just so bad. What about Ob? 19 points, but it keeps the duplicate I, and that's not good. Okay, the leave here is actually good, so let's see what happens. Okay. Well, do I have Terrier? Yes, I do. B14 down. Great. Hopefully my opponent will be drawn to the triple word square at A8 and I can play Terrier and be back in the game. Is there anywhere else for Terrier? No, there isn't. And I'm going to struggle to use the R ending in perv because then I'd be looking for a word with 4 R's. I'm not sure there are many of those. But Terrier is not blocked. Just quickly seeing if my opponent's play of Jowl has opened any opportunities, but I can't see any. Now this is good. scores 75 points, brings me back into the game, and the board is open. I've opened up column 15 and Jowl has opened up the left-hand side of the board. And I've got a pretty good rack. I'm not sure I've got a bingo. The O is the most promising floater. Non-rated is good, but doesn't go. The O is in the wrong position. My opponent's play has blocked the R of perv, so that's no longer available. Looking at the score, I'm 22 points behind, but I'm going to be behind after this move. But my opponent scores less than 20, so I'm 40 points behind, 23 tiles in the bag, an awful lot of A's. So, should I play in column 15 and try and score some points there? There are no blanks left, and I'm messing up a good leave. I wonder if I can just try and outscore my opponent. So Denar would be 27, leaving an N and a T. There are 2 N's and 3 T's left. The R only takes an E after it, so the position of the E is fixed. Is there a 6-letter play which stretches down to the double letter square at L15, because that would boost the score a little? Well, there's tenant. That would keep a D. Ah, it would also keep... Well, do I have tenant? No, I don't. I don't have 2 T's. Well, I could spend longer and try and find a 6-letter word. In fact, that's what I am doing, but I'm going, do I have... No, I don't have retard. Okay, let's leave it at Denar. That's not too bad. I'm now 13 points behind. I should have played Dian rather than Denar, because I've actually opened up quite a nice spot for my opponent at J14 with that triple letter square next to a vowel, so that was a mistake on my part. If my opponent doesn't use it, I've got Panto down there. But he has. Well, you pay for your lessons. So I'm now 50 points behind. It's looking like I am going to need a bingo to win. There are no bingo lanes. So can I create a bingo lane? I'm not sure I can. I'm 47 points behind. Well, if I played down column 5 onto the W of Jowl with playing 4 of my tiles, I would be opening up a lane in column 4. But do I have a... Well, actually just 3 tiles would do it. Well, I have a now. That works. Keeps the duplicate T, which isn't good. Only scores 18 points, but I'm looking for a bingo now. Is there anything... I'm happy with playing in that spot. It's a case of, is there a better play in that spot? Well, I can't see it, and I am a little low on time, so... This looks promising. There are still 10 tiles in the bag. I do have a bingo lane open now. Don't think I have a 7-letter bingo. Great, my opponent hasn't blocked my spot. Let's have a look at what's left. There's a great set of tiles left. So if I played off just an A and a T, which I could do down here, 15 points. I've still got that single bingo lane open. It'd be nice to open up a second one. But if I opened up column 1 by playing something like Pian, then my opponent could score and then a bingo may not be enough. I think I'm going to have to trust to luck, and I note that AM does take an S in front, so if and there are 2 S's left, so if I draw one of them, I'll have a great set of 6 letters. Just wondering about playing Tang. If I play Tang, I am opening up a second bingo lane. My opponent may be more drawn to blocking that and leave open the one in column 4. Well, I was also increasing my chances of drawing an S by playing an extra tile, but that hasn't worked out. I am now 40 points behind, so I am still within reach if I can get a bingo. I don't have one with my current rack. I need to see what my opponent leaves, and that becomes immaterial because my opponent bingos and is going to win this game. There are no tiles in the bag, there are 5 on my opponent's rack. And now it's just a case of how much I can score with this final rack. Okay. And maybe something better than this. But I think this is all I can see in the time available. My opponent is not going to go out with his move, so I should have been considering a 2 move out, and I haven't left myself with an out, so that's remiss. That would have been fairly straightforward. So I do need to give a little bit of thought as to what I'm going to do with this rack. Well, I guess I can play tab in row A. What else is available? I note that gin is good. So I could play sane in row N. But I can't see any way of going out. And opponent hasn't opened anywhere. I am a little short on time, so I think I'm just going to play this. My opponent may be stuck with the C. No, he's got cop at M13. I wonder if he had anywhere else where that could play. Anyway, that is the end of the game, and I lose by 442 points to 338, so that was quite a big loss in the end, but it really came down to who got the final bingo, and it was my opponent. So let's see what I missed. Okay, moves me to go first. There were no 5-letter plays. Moz is being suggested, but I think the Zag is fine. It looks like Myope was the highest scoring play, but there were other candidate moves. And Yorp, spelt Y-A-U-P, was good. Okay, Homie was my move here. Now my rack started to deteriorate, and Perv was my play. And Govs at K5, making Yords as well for 25. Well, I think I just played that elsewhere. Yep, cheese. Right, this is probably the first spot where I think I may have missed a bingo. And I didn't, so that's good. IO for 23, gosh. I considered the B hook for GI, but not the O hook. IO would have been a far better play than boy. And Perrier and Terrier were the only bingos available here. And there was no bingo here, and Endart was a 6-letter play for 30 points. So that's what I was looking for, but Denar for 27 is obviously not very far behind. And Op at A8, well, that would have left duplicate A, duplicate T, so I'm not persuaded that that's good. Tinner jar. Oh well, that would have been quite nice. It would have left 3 in the bag and me with a leave of PT, and it would have opened a bingo lane. So actually that would not have been nice, because it would have blocked my bingo lane ending hooking onto AM. So actually I prefer my play at this point. This is when my opponent bingoed, and this is when I misplayed the end game. So N1 spin. Oh, I see, where I played Sane later. And finally Sane was the best I could do with this rack. Okay, well, that was an interesting game. I don't know how big a blunder boy was compared to IO. I think IO was definitely better, but I don't know how much better, because they're quite different moves, and IO would have opened up the A15 square for a big score with the S. So having said that IO was clearly much better, it may not be as conclusive upon analysis. Anyway, I think that was an interesting move, and there were other ones in this game, so I hope you enjoyed watching it. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.